Well, it is indeed a pleasure for me to be in this position to introduce to you a man who probably has been imitated and emulated more than any broadcaster in the history of baseball. I know when I got my start into broadcasting, I was fortunate enough to be in the Los Angeles area, and I listened to his broadcasts with a great deal of learning, as most of the broadcasters today do. If you'd ever been to the Coliseum in 1958, 59, and the years that they played in the football stadium out in Los Angeles, you would have seen 90,000 people there and just about 90,000 with radios listening to the broadcast as they watched the game. You know, the Coliseum was a place that had 90,000 fans and room for only 2 outfielders. And the fans were so far away from the play of the game that they had to have someone tell them what was going on in the field, and that man was Vin Scully. But Vince was certainly a force with the Dodgers throughout the years, and he started his broadcasting with the Brooklyn Dodgers when they were in Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. He was called the Fordham Thrush with the 400 larynx. Vin Scully has been the voice of the Brooklyn and Los Angeles Dodgers for the past 32 years. Joining the Dodgers radio team in 1950, he became the protege of Red Barber, and over the years he has covered many of baseball's most thrilling moments, including Hank Aaron's 715th home run, Sandy Koufax's 4 no-hitters, Maury Wills' 104 stolen bases, Don Drysdale's scoreless inning streak, and the Dodgers' World Series triumphs over the Yankees. Many adjectives have been used to describe Scully and his style since his declaration to a teacher at the age of 8 of his ambition to become a sports announcer. And his entertaining, precise, proficient, charming, friendly, outgoing, smooth, relaxed, warm, knowledgeable, intelligent, literate, concise, well-prepared, colorful material. He joins his contemporaries, Red Barber, Mel Allen, Bob Elson, Russ Hodges, and Ernie Harwell, all of whom have been previous recipients of this award. It's my pleasure to give you Vin Scully.
Thank you, Ralph. Commissioner, distinguished members of the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. I guess a vital portion of the human existence is when man is visited with misfortune. He invariably will look his eyes to the heavens and say, "Why me? Why, with the millions and millions of people in this world, am I asked to carry a cross?" And yet, if I'm to be honest with you and with myself today, I have to ask the same question when good fortune comes my way. Why me? Why, with the millions and millions of more deserving people, would a red-haired kid with a hole in his pants and his shirt tail hanging out, playing stickball in the streets of New York, wind up in Cooperstown? Why me indeed? I don't have the answer to either question for either situation, but I do know how I feel. I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to laugh, I want to shout, I want to cry, and I'd like to pray. I'd like to pray with humility and with great thanksgiving. I have a lot of thanks to give. I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank my wonderful wife and children who paid the bill of loneliness and separation while I'm away. I'd like to thank Red Barber and Connie Desmond, who cared about that skinny red-headed kid 33 years ago and made sure that he would do reasonably well. I would like to thank my partners today, Jerry Doggett and Ross Porter. I would like to thank the O'Malley family, to Walter and Kay, bless them both, and to Peter and to Terry. I would like to thank the writers who have been more than generous to me over the years. I'd like to thank the Dodgers, both Brooklyn and Los Angeles, and all of the people along the way. and I'd like to conclude with a story. There is a legend in the West of an Indian chief who was wont to test the manhood of his young braves by making them climb up the side of a mountain as far as they could in a single day. And at daybreak on the appointed day, 4 braves left the village. The first one came back in the late afternoon with a sprig of spruce to show how high he had climbed. Later that afternoon, another came with a branch of pine, and much later in the day, the third came with an alpine shrub. But it wasn't until late that night, by a full moon with the stars dancing in the heavens, that the 4th brave arrived. "What did you bring back? How high did you climb?" asked the chief. And the brave said, "Where I was, there was no spruce nor pine to shield me from the sun. There was no flower to cheer my path. There was only snow and ice and barren rocks and cold, hard ground. My feet are torn and bloodied. I'm worn out and exhausted. I'm barehanded, and I have come home late." But, and then a wondrous look came into his eye, and he said, "I saw the sea." For 33 years, the good Lord has allowed me to do what I've always wanted to do, broadcast my favorite game. He has allowed me to climb my mountain. And today, thanks to the Ford C. Frick Award, I thank you for sharing this moment with me, because believe me, today, I saw the sea. Thank you.
Back when the Dodgers played in Brooklyn and didn't know they were the boys of summer, there was a warbling in the broadcast booth. Red Barber and Connie Desmond were first-rate broadcasters with more than a hint of Dixie in their syrupy drawls. Into their midst came a young man who didn't possess much professional experience, but he had an innate sense of communicating fact with charm. From Brooklyn to Los Angeles and all National League stops in between, Vin Scully has been describing Dodgers games for 32 years with intelligence and humor. Scully knew he wanted to be a sports announcer at 8 years old. Barely graduated from Fordham University in New York, he impressed the dean of the broadcast booth, Red Barber. And Scully's giant leap put him behind the mic at Ebbets Field.
First of all, any and all honors that I have ever gained in this business, I really and truly feel I should share with Red. The Hall of Fame, of course, is the capper, and I will share that with him.
He has not taken himself importantly. He has not forgotten the importance of pre-game preparation. He has not forgotten that each new game is a brand new assignment on its own merit.
The greatest thing about Red's relationship with me was that he cared. It wasn't just that I was the third announcer in the booth or whatever. He wanted me to succeed. Now, he was a taskmaster. He was hard. He was like a father. And the first time I would come in and I would give him a lineup, and he would say, well, so-and-so hit third yesterday. He's hitting fifth today. Why? Well, the first time I said, I don't know. But that was the last time I said, I don't know, because after that, and that was great training. But he cared.
I would say that after 32 years in the business, the thing that has made Scully the top-flight broadcaster that he is today, he brought with him in 1950.
When I first met him, I had worked in Washington, D.C. at CBS there, and I was going to go back in February as a permanent employee. At the time, I was a summer replacement announcer. You would take over the duties of each announcer on the staff as he went away on vacation. Anyway, they gave me the list of people to see in New York. Hopefully one of them would put me to work and I wouldn't starve to death until February. One of the names on the list was Red Barber.
Ernie Harwell was with Connie Desmond and me announcing the Brooklyn Dodgers in the season of 1949. And Harwell left to join Russ Hodges at the Polo Grounds broadcasting the Giants. And so that left the job open. But it wasn't really a job for a full-time broadcaster. Television hadn't come on and made its full effect then. So we just needed, Connie and I, we just needed somebody to sort of take an inning here and there and just do little things, as I put it, carry out briefcases if necessary.
I went in to see him, and he was putting on his hat and coat. And he said, "I'm terribly sorry, my wife is circling the block, Madison Avenue in New York, and hello, okay," and he left. And I left my name and address, the old story, and I took off. And shortly thereafter, he called me. And actually, when I came home, my mother was terribly excited. And she said, "You'll never guess who called." And I said, "Who?" And she said, "Red Skelton." And I said, No, Mom, it's not Red Skelton. Could it be Red? Oh, yes, Red Barber.
Scully came in and applied for the job, and he was a very apt young man, and he took right over. He made the most of his opportunity.
Red had always thought about someday training a young announcer to more or less fit in with the crew, and I fell into it. And I went to Florida on a 1-month option, and that's 33 years ago.
Romo into the windup.
Scully has
and the
covered
2-2
many of
pitch.
baseball's most
Swung on
thrilling
and fouled
moments.
away
The
again.
Dodgers World Series triumphs,
2-2.
the 4 no-hitters of Sandy Koufax,
One away
Hank
during the
Aaron's
first inning, just the start of
715th
the ball
home
game,
run,
so
and
pull up a
Maury
chair.
Will's
Been part of
104
Friday
stolen
with it.
bases.
The pitch
L.A.
rolled
Times
inside,
columnist
ball
Jim
2,
Murray once
Romo
described
now
him
wants
as
another ball,
the
2-0.
Fordham Thrush with the 400 larynx.
Scully brought intelligence to the assignment. He brought industry to the assignment. He brought integrity to the assignment. And he brought imagination and initiative to the assignment. And he has never ceased using these talents.
The great Vin Scully, and what a year for him in 1982, not only in baseball's Hall of Fame, but he is the recipient of the Peabody Award, which is broadcasting's Pulitzer. Well, we'll continue with more of our coverage of baseball's Hall of Fame induction ceremonies live from Cooperstown, New York, after this.